Welcome to Beyond the Huddle, a Central Arkansas FCA podcast where faith meets competition. Join host Josh Adair and Zach Rose as they dive into real stories from athletes, coaches, and leaders making an eternal impact through sports. Each episode brings powerful conversations on faith, leadership, and living boldly for Christ in every field of play and walk of life. This is Beyond the Huddle.
Forget what I'm going to say. It's go time. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Central Arkansas FCA podcast, Beyond the Huddle. We are excited that you are joining with us today. This is where faith meets competition, where we go a little bit deeper in the walks of coaches and athletes and how God is leading them, how the impact that through fellowship of Christian athletes that they're making on campus, and the impact that FCA has made in their life, how it's affected their personal journey and growth, and just really excited for today. I always get caught off guard when we start this and try to be professional and forget that I just have to talk. So here today, a co-host, Zach Rose. Zach, you got anything to say to get us started?
I always love on my Facebook feed seeing our podcast pop up on there. Last podcast, I was just like dying laughing when we started. So we're very unprofessional in here, but that's okay. It's a blessing to have a sense of humor.
Very unprofessional, just along for the ride. Whatever comes to our mind, we talk and we speak and we say, and some of it's good, some of it's not so good. So hopefully you find a little bit of truth in what we talk about today, and it can bless your life and benefit you. And so super excited. Have a couple guests here with us. Josh Hines is on staff with us in Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Central Arkansas East, out of Cabot. Transitioning come on full-time later on this year. And right beside him is Jason Golden, former coach at Carlisle High School softball team, a little bit on football sidelines in those last couple years of coaching, now retired, has another job and working to come on as an ambassador of Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So super excited you guys are on. So let's just start. And Josh, tell a little bit about your story and how you got to here to being on staff with FCA.
All right. Hey, thank you for having me. It's great. I've served in the ministry my entire life. My parents, my grandparents were pastors. Brother went to Bible college. I did not. I went to trade school, plumbing, followed my father-in-law's deals. Been doing ministry since I was 13. Helped plant a church about 16 years ago. In Cabot, and it's going great. As children's pastors, fell into the youth pastoral about 9 years ago. My wife and I serve. She's a teacher at Cabot. My son just recently got married, going to Carlisle. My other son attended Bible college, and about 2 years ago, I'm at a come and go in shorts and a t-shirt, and Mr. Adair there hits me up. But like, I've been a recruiter for the National Guard for 5 years, and whenever Josh was getting started full time in this area, it was the same area I was recruiting in Lonoke County. And so some connections that we had with coaches and stuff, we kind of did events together. We did some football stuff together. We sponsored some stuff together, and we kind of just built relationships at all of those schools. And I'm the type of person that I don't do a job. I live a lifestyle. And if God's called you to do something, you do it. If it's in your job, if it's at church, if it's at work, if it's whatever. So for me, recruiting has been that type of lifestyle. Living for God has been that type of lifestyle. Grew up playing sports, coached sports for the past 22 years. And had a connection with Josh when he was youth pastor in town, and we just hit it off years ago. And God reconnected us a couple years back, and he was like, "Hey, man, I really believe that you would be a great fit for our team." I was like, "Man, dude, I've got the military going for me. I've got church going for me. My wife's in her full-time career at school. I don't know that this is going to work. Like, of course, I'll support you. I love you. I will do whatever it takes to get the ministry, to get the word, to spread the gospel. I said, but I just don't know if it's going to work." He's like. And he just felt God telling him, and he said, "Hey, I want you to go pray about it, but I also want you to talk to your wife about it." Mm-hmm. So go to my wife. So years back when we transitioned from kids church to youth pastor, she was like, "I will never, ever be a youth pastor." I said, "Okay." And so I was like, "Cool."
Did she say that to you, or did she tell God that?
Both.
Okay.
That's the quickest route to become a youth pastor.
Bro,
that's exactly
right. So God won. And so then she came on and she was like, "Hey, you just have way too much on your plate. You're a yes man. It's hard for you to say no to things." But she also loves Josh and Nelica and their family. And she goes, "If you're going to do ministry with one person, with one family, it's going to be them." When I mentioned it to her, I was like, So you're saying this is a yes, because like I already feel called,
Right.
but if you don't run things through your wife,
Mm.
hello, I've been married
100%.
over 20 years. I'm married over 20 years, been together 25 years, two become one, right? And so it's not one of those things. Hey, yeah, Josh, I'll do this. Let me run it let me tell the wife. It was no, let me discuss it, pray with the wife. And he already felt that way. He was like, hey, go home and talk and pray about it. It was like the next day I was headed to a winter retreat with our kids. God really like had a vision, showed me a vision and a dream of what could be if we partnered with the right people.
Right.
And because the word says we're two or more gathered together, he's in the midst. And like his vision, my vision have been the same vision, and it's to win souls. And so
Amen.
a couple years passed, and slowly but surely each week I put more into it, went through FCA boot camp, put more into it. My work is when I recruit, I'm recruiting for the guard, but I'm also recruiting for Christ and building relationship with coaches. And now I'm closing a chapter on that side and opening up a chapter that's already 2 years been started. So like God has just provided the entire way. So that's kind of like the shortened rundown version of how I am where I am.
Right.
And God's blessed it along the way.
Amen.
That's great. Ask people all the time if they would consider coming on FCA staff, and I get that response a lot. Like, absolutely not. I'm like, well, don't tell me no. It's a calling. It's a calling from the Lord. It's a calling that God places on your heart. Just go pray about it.
Yeah.
Pray about it and see what the Lord has for you to do. And if it's yes, absolutely. If it's no, absolutely not. So a lot of people, if you're listening to this and you're like, how do we get involved? What do we do? You can go to centralarcfca.org and do what, Zach? How do we do that?
Well, we're still implementing some new things on there, but essentially there's going to be a tab called Get Involved. And we're going to have an area where you can submit your contact information, a little bit about you, and we'll be able to reach out to you there. But
by the time this goes live, that will be on the website.
Correct.
And everything will be.
It'll be up and live on the Central Arkansas East website.
We're speaking it into existence.
Yes.
Is what we're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Technically. I mean,
that's the great thing about this podcast. We record in advance, so what you hear, we can have lead time, and it puts a little pressure on us to make it happen.
Yeah. You'll go to caearc.org. I don't know. FCA.org. All right. That last one is the one that you should go to.
Yeah. But also on the Central Arkansas FCA website, because we're kind of two here. So Zach, myself, and Josh work in Central Arkansas East, which is Lone Oak County down to North Little Rock, as far east as Brinkley, as far south as DeWitt, part of Central Arkansas FCA. So we're running this podcast for the benefit of all of Central Arkansas. So we're going to put that in two places. We have our own website. Central Arkansas has their own website to promote our events, ways to get involved and get contacted. So if you're listening to this and you're interested in what may be going on and wanting to get plugged in, get involved on a local school campus, and like, hey, I feel like God may be leading me here, not to come on staff, but to support you, to be a champion on campus, to partner, to get your church involved in ministry with FCA. We're in non-denominational international sports ministry with 108 countries worldwide, and we just happen to office here in the United States. And if you're wanting to figure out a way to get partnered in the Great Commission in your local congregation, there's a great opportunity in FCA to go that direction locally and globally. And we would just love to connect with you, hear your heart, figure out the best place for you to serve, how to be what we call a mobilized volunteer, somebody who has done a background check and understand how we do discipleship. And that way you get to learn ins and outs of how we do school ministry, what's allowed, what's not allowed, how you can care for a team, how you can adopt a team, how you can adopt a coach and walk with them throughout the seasons of their life, throughout the school year, just as a way to pray for them, to encourage them, to have their back, and to go that direction. So with all that said, kind of leads to how I met Jason and came on staff with FCA in 2020 during the great cancellation of school. Trying to figure out what all ministry looked like. God led me to an on-campus ministry with the opportunity to be on campus that I couldn't step foot on. And that's the way all campuses started that way until we learned which campuses, which schools were open, which schools were closed. And during that time, Carlisle was one of the schools like, we're not shutting down. Shutting down's not cool. So we're just going to, I almost said another word, but we're just going to continue on. And you're like, hey, we need you on campus. We need your positivity, need your encouragement. I just dropped by the field house in Carlisle one day and There was a coach in there washing clothes, and I didn't know anybody. I was like, Carlisle's one of my schools. It's in my area. I was actually doing a prayer drive. I was just driving around town and praying for God to open doors and lead me to people that would open doors. And just happened to stop by the field house, and there's vehicles outside, and I hop in, and there's Shane Wright inside, just washing clothes, the defensive coordinator at the time. And we started meeting one-on-one in Bible study, figured out that he was disconnected from a local congregation because of COVID and everything. I'm like, well, we can just do Bible study here. So I would show up every Thursday, 1:30 to right before practice, and we would just sit in his office and have Bible study, and found great community. And I just asked him, like, who else is here that you know that needs this community or needs opportunity to grow in their faith? And he's like, I think Jason Golden would be a great fit. So he invited Jason, and that's kind of how we got here today.
It was. Somebody asked me, how did you meet Josh? And I was like, I don't remember. I know he came to our school, but I don't specifically remember. So I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
We'll put that one back in my memory bank.
Yeah. We met in football office, and we're all in a line beside each other, just kicked back, relaxed, and prayed and read the Bible and figured out how to do Bible study and apply it to your lives, and built a great relationship. So, Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your family, a little bit of your coaching history, and then we'll get into some more FCA-specific questions.
Okay. Me and my wife, Allison, have been married for 25 years. A few weeks ago was our 25th wedding anniversary.
Awesome.
My youngest daughter is still a student at Carlisle High School. My middle daughter is a sophomore. She plays softball at Ouachita Baptist University. And my oldest daughter is out of college. Her name's Emma. She's out of college, recently married, new baby.
First grandchild.
Yeah.
And so what will grandbaby call you?
Just Paul.
Paul.
I was a big fan of a TV show in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, a Western?
Andy Griffith.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Watched that yesterday.
And so I just want to be called Paul.
So you're deciding for the child, not letting the child decide for you.
100%.
We'll see how well that works out 100%. Later.
I hope he calls you Jason.
That's probably not going to go well.
Sorry. Go ahead. I cut you off. Is there anything else coaching-wise?
Oh, coaching. Over 2 decades of coaching. Coached at North Little Rock, Joe T. Robinson, Malvern, Marion, Magnet Cove, finished at Carlisle. A lot of great experiences, a lot of great memories along the way. But at the end of my career, back in May, had several different opportunities come up, and one being an ambassador for Fellowship of Christian Athletes was very enticing.
Yeah, we're excited that you're here.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things like Josh, we just said, hey, go home and pray about it.
Right.
And let the Lord direct your steps and guide, and we'll be here, and we can have some dialogue and conversations and answer questions, and we may still have more questions that we still need to answer, but
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I'd also recently taken a job as a salesman, and you spend over 2 decades as a servant, because that's what a coach should be. And now you're trying to wade through how to be a servant and sell at the same time. And so maybe we'll get there. Maybe we won't. I hope
so. Let's talk about that for a minute. You said something, a coach should be a servant.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How many, because if we're honest, we see a coach, we don't see a coach as a servant.
If a coach really evaluates who they are, they're a servant. They're there to serve the school. They serve the students, the athletes. If you try to change that perspective and you make it about you, you won't make it very far as a coach. Not as a good one anyway.
Yeah. So do servants focus on wins and losses as much?
No. And honestly, it took me probably 8 years to get past that. I was a win or lose. And if you only focus on the outcome of playing, you live a really roller coaster life, a lot of ups and downs. If you're only focused on, did I win or did I lose?
Yeah.
And, those first 8 years is kind of where I was. It was, I want to build my career. I've got these goals in place. I want to be a head coach about this time. And so to get those jobs, you have to stack the win column. And so those are the only things that mattered when I started my career. And now it hurts even worse because I know that I missed out on, 8 years of changing kids' lives, because at the time it was only about them as an athlete, not them as a person. And honestly, it hit me about a month ago. I found out that one of my kids that I'd coached during that period had passed away in a car wreck. And I missed out on that opportunity.
Mm. Wow.
So dive into that a little bit more of the wins and losses. They're inevitable in any sports atmosphere.
Yeah.
But you talked about your perspective being shifted a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that a little bit more for just the general viewer of there's an addiction to winning. Everyone wants to win.
Yeah, by far.
Like if you don't want to win and you're playing sports, there's probably an issue or something wrong.
Without a doubt.
Like everyone wants to win, but in terms of a grader or even an FCA, we talk about it all the time, winning on and off the field. We want to play to the best of our ability, but we also want to be glorifying of the Lord in that. How would you explain that? How would you teach that to your athletes in terms of, okay, guys, we want to win at the end of the day, but even more than that, we want to give God the glory. How do you approach that in terms of winning, trying to figure out the balance of, all right, God deserves all the glory and we want to compete at a high level?
That's a good question. So you kind of have to shift your perspective as winning and losing is the product of what you do. It's just a result. And so we really emphasize the process. How did we get to that point? What did we do along the way before we got to the game? And win or lose, it's about what you put into it that we focused on. And when I made that transition from only worrying about the result to the process, you find yourself coaching the heart of a kid, not who they are as far as a player, but who they are as a person. And so when you invest in them as a kid and try to serve their needs, the winning and losing will take care of itself.
Yeah. I was just listening to a popular college football coach who recently retired. I won't name his name because no one really likes him outside of the one state that he coached, but very respected. You can just piece it together if you want to, but very respected college football coach.
I'd take it.
He's on College Game Day
Yeah.
now. All right. We've all pieced it together.
Is he coming out of retirement?
No.
He's
He
not?
looks pretty content.
But
But I was watching this video and Eli Manning asked this coach, he says, what was the key to your success all these years? And he gave what was really just like, it was a 10-word, really profound answer, but it was just a very simple truth. He said along the lines, and I'm going to butcher it. He would make it sound a lot better.
Get it right. Let's go.
I don't know what it is in 10 words, but essentially he said it's doing the things that you don't want to do, but know you should. If we could get all of our athletes to do the things they know that they should, but don't want to do, then we would have a lot more success as a team. Because I think that's a lot of times these athletes, even for myself, when I was an athlete, I understood that ideal of there's things that I know I'm supposed to do. Like my coach has put me in the right spot to succeed, but at the end of the day, the athlete's the one who has to perform and has to push past that. So I think as a coach, that's where, and he was saying, and what has made him so excellent, what makes the best coaches, the greats, is pushing past that boundary or that limit of this is where it ends. It's like there is no limit because we're continually improving, because the process is consistently changing and it's consistently helping us to improve to the best that we can be. And that's what I try and share with athletes all the time, is the way that you can glorify the Lord in what you're doing is by continually seeking for ways to improve.
Right.
It's not an end result of I mean, we've talked to coaches on here. Coach Johnny Rice was on here, one of our first episodes. He won 6 state championships in 10 years as a head coach. And for him, if he would have just stopped after that first one, and if he would have stopped after that 6th one, it would have been dishonoring to the Lord with the gifts and abilities that he had given him. So I think that's a little bit of that perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. Got anything, Hines?
I got a question, Coach. So you said it took you about 8 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
After that 8 to 10 years, what changed? Was it your relationship with God? Was it, hey, your daughters are coming up, I want them to have different perspective of just
honestly, the last part was, my kids were getting to the age where they were going to be playing for coaches. And I wanted them to play for someone that I had in my head, but I wasn't that guy. Wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if you're not that guy,
can't expect somebody else to be.
You're really, for me, it was, this is what I want my kid to learn under. And then it was a hard self-reflection of, I'm not that.
Yeah.
So
did raising your kids up in that push you closer to Christ through that?
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, every single one of my daughters was saved at FCA camp. Every one of them. And, that in itself was what drove me to want to be such a part of FCA. Like when I got in, my first time ever being in FCA was 2000, decade and a half ago. I was coaching at Malvern, and Micah May, who's now the state guy, was just over Hot Spring County. And me being the new coach on staff, he came in and our head football coach was like, "Yep, tell him to go in there," which was me. And
all right.
Micah said,
how often do you think that really happens? More times than we
gosh,
even.
Yeah, if you're the young guy,
you're going.
You're it.
Yeah.
But Micah's like, "Hey, I'm serving pizza," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm in." that got me in the door quick. And listening to him and listening to some of the local youth pastors that came in and talked to the kids at Malvern, and seeing them grow, I was like, I want to be that. Like, that's what I want to be. And so for the last 15, 17 years, whatever it's been, every school where I've gone to, I've tried to become the huddle leader for that school.
Great story.
That's incredible. So for you parents out there listening, get your son or daughter to FCA camp.
Oh, without a doubt.
One, to grow in their relationship with Jesus, and two, to go further in their relationship if they already have one, or it's a great place to start because they're around people of their own interest and love sports.
Well, and it's a place for them to feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
Or to get over that being vulnerable of, there's a lot of kids here like me. So
it's great.
It's really cool.
That's what FCA was founded on, camp ministry.
100%.
And I think that's where I was at church camp this last week. I grew up going to camps, and the common denominator for a well-run church camp, FCA camp, is there's an atmosphere created where we're removed from the daily struggles. We can put our garbage right at the door, and I guess bring it into the door, bring it into the space that's created for those students, those coaches, athletes to be able to kind of release and share a little bit more about that. I wanted to, just for explanation and a little bit more of continuity of kind of what you're doing, Josh, would you mind explaining a little bit more about what it looks like to be an ambassador on FCA?
Yeah, so an ambassador is somebody who is on staff but is just how do you say it? It's someone who has the time to give but doesn't want to necessarily do all of the ministry. They want to facilitate. They want to raise volunteers. They may have another job, may be retired, may have some, but they love the ministry and still want to see it proceed and progress and take out. So say they were a coach like Jason was here in Carlisle. As an ambassador, he still has the opportunity to go into school and continue on the FCA ministry that he helped establish and to see it grow and thrive. And has the opportunity now through his other job to go into schools in sales and sports sales, and it pairs and partners well with him. He's already doing this as an ambassador. So ambassadors are 15 hours a month, very low investment, but still as an opportunity to be on staff to help advance the ball down the field. So.
I wanted to ask you, Jason, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit about your upbringing, how you got into the softball world to begin with. What's your heart behind that, and how you got started as a coach?
So that's a lot I'll unpack, but growing up, I was a big baseball, football fan, big baseball, football guy. I played college baseball. In my brain, when I graduated, and so I went into coaching because of a coach that made an impact on me. My senior year in high school, my parents divorced, and I had a coach that I leaned on for that. And so because of him, I got into coaching. But how I got into softball was God gave me a daughter, and then he gave me another one, and then he gave me another one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was a head baseball coach and football coach the first part of my career, and then I had a daughter and then two more. And then I got to a point when they got into school, it was, I'm going to miss everything they do.
Yeah.
And when I went to Malvern, I went to coach football, but another coach who was there at the time, Daryl Baker, who is still there, one of the greatest men on earth, he said, "Hey, why don't you come coach softball with me?" And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I can coach girls. Just don't think I can do that. And I went home and told my wife, and she's like, "Yeah, you probably can't do that." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'm going to try." And just fell in love with the opportunity to know that one day I was going to get to coach my kids.
Yeah. If you can raise them, you can coach them. Put that on a t-shirt somewhere.
So here's my question. If you're a coach and you've been there and you've had the girls in your home that have been on your team, how do you separate?
Like being a dad and being their coach?
Yeah, what happens on the field and taking it home or not? Or what was that journey like? How did you figure out how to navigate? Because a lot of coaches struggle with that.
Yeah, without a doubt. And so I probably messed this up with my oldest daughter, who played for me first. Usually things that happened on the field, she would hear about it at home. But then I learned with her that when my other two, when we get home, they'd ask me something and I'd say, "Okay, do you want me to be your dad? Do you want me to be your coach? Am I dad right now or my coach right now?" And
yeah,
my middle daughter is the only one that will say, "I want you to be my coach." And so then I could talk to her as a coach. And then, there's times she's just be my dad. So,
yeah. Well, between the two of y'all can put a pretty good all-girls team together.
Good.
Yes.
Give my girls a couple more years, but yeah, they'll be there soon.
That's right.
Yeah. But I just had to ask the question, am I your dad or am I your coach right now before I give you
You're asking them permission for what you need to
right.
do. Yeah.
And
instead of just assuming and jumping in and going at it.
Or not even with my first daughter, I wouldn't even assume or care. I just said it.
Yeah.
But you learn from that. And so she probably had a little harder than the other two for sure.
What would your encouragement be to, encouragement or just wisdom for a parent who's looking to be involved with their children's sports, but not looking to be overbearing and just supporting them the best they can?
You only get one shot at being a dad. One shot at it. Don't let a sport of any kind ruin that.
So more specifically, you kind of just briefly talked about it, but what were some specific lessons you learned from coaching your daughters and the process of being dad but being coach?
it was easier for me to be coach on the field. And they would, there were times that they would say coach when I wasn't listening or didn't hear them. And, but I think for me, and probably for a lot of dads, you want them to exceed and you want them to be great, right? You have this expectation for what they should be able to do, and you know what they're capable of doing. And for me, it's find that fine line of when you're making a decision with your kid, it's not what you do or how you do it. It's when you do it. When are they having just a bad day, right? Is today the day? Maybe things just didn't go right in math class, and maybe they got a bad grade. Maybe they had an issue with a friend. Well, today's not that day, right? And so finding out the when you do something really helped me. It's not necessarily should I coach them hard, should I discipline them, or whatever. It was just when you do it, more so than what you're actually doing.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I got this funny mental image in my head. I was scrolling through social media a little while back, and I saw this video. It was like LeBron James in high school and his like highlight mixtape. It was like, imagine going to 4th hour math class and having to go play this guy later that night. Yeah. It's like, there's definitely an importance of, like you said, when we do certain things with certain athletes of like, man, as an athlete, and I think that's the perspective. It's learning more of what they're going through, trying to understand them, ask questions, figure out how they work, how they operate, because every athlete's different. Like for me, when I was growing up, if I knew I didn't ever play against anyone like LeBron James-esque, I played small 1A Illinois basketball, but I would get nervous before a game, and it mattered to me when a coach or when my mom would always have a pregame speech. She would hype me up before a game, but it mattered when she did that. And it was important that I knew that she was there in a certain moment or a certain season of it gave me the confidence and the drive to be like, you know what, I know she's in my corner, or I know coach, or I know dad's in my corner, to be able to give me the freedom then to operate in the fullness of my gifts and abilities on the court. On the field.
Well, and another thing that I learned is I would wear my emotions on my face. And so I had to be careful with like, what does dad look like right now? Because they would know I would be disappointed or upset or frustrated, or they would know that I was excited. Like they could see without me having to say a word. Oh. And so I also had to learning that I've got to manage what my face says to them more so than what my words are saying.
Yeah. My wife tells me often, fix your face before you talk to them.
Right.
Like, what does my face say? Give me a mirror.
Yeah. Well, I learned that during my senior year, I had gotten to this habit of when something frustrating would happen, and say I was coaching, I would walk away from them. And I'd have my back to them because I didn't want them to see my face. But they learned that was my thing. And so then they knew when I walked away. I was like, I can't win.
Win, huh?
Every coach, every dad has a tell.
Yeah.
About multiple things. And everybody's a student of who they see in front of them.
Right.
So, FCA ministry is about to kick off in the fall. Teachers go back August 4th, a lot of them in Central Arkansas. And then right after that, a school ministry kicks off and clubs start and all that. But another big thing that's coming up is Fields of Faith. Mm-hmm. You've seen a big impact of
Absolutely.
Fields of Faith on you, on your relationships, on the people that you bring. I remember when we started. Let's go back a little bit further. Another way that I met you that you probably don't know about, Coach Green, BJ Green, which was your athletic director at the time, now superintendent Carlisle.
He's a good guy.
Absolutely. I walked in his office, introduced myself as FCA rep, and he's like, hey, can we get some Bibles? I'm like, sure. What do you need Bibles for? And he's like, well, we're hosting a regional and state baseball softball for 2A, and I'd love to give every coach a FCA coach's Bible that's inside the dugout. And I said, absolutely. It's a great idea, which I hadn't thought about that. And he wanted to, and it's if it's a coach asking for Bibles, we'll figure out a way to get them Bibles. And I show up with all the Bibles and drop them off, and lo and behold, this guy named Jason Golden is beating me to every dugout and distributing all the Bibles where I'm supposed to. I have the game plan. All right, I'm going there. We're going to give to the coach, and we're going to pray for him. And I would get back to the box. I'm like, where's the Bibles? Well, Coach Golden got it. I'm like, well, who is Coach Golden? And I need to meet this guy. And he was just, well, you were hosting the tournament. You were working. You understood. And you just went after it. And you already did it. Yeah. So, and that's what I know about Jason, too. He's a doer. He likes to get after it. And if there's a job to do, he's going to do it. And he's going to make it happen.
Yeah, I've got this character flaw that when I start something, I want to see the finish line. And I'm a straight line guy.
Yeah.
When I started, I want to finish it.
Yeah, so whenever I found out who you were, I'm like, oh, dadgummit, I can't go talk to him. He's in the dugout coaching right now. So you did everything, and you got, but you were doing it before you even got to coach. I'm like, what kind of guy is this? And who? But that's who you are, and it's a testament to you and your belief in what you set out to do. So we come around to Fields of Faith. The actual Fields of Faith date nationwide is October the 22nd. Mm-hmm. It's always the third Wednesday of October. But here in Central Arkansas, we do a little bit different because we do more than one. We do multiples. In Central Arkansas East, we'll do 3 this year. We'll do Cabot on September 24th, Stuttgart on October 1st, and Sylvan Hills on October 15th. But there's some in Saline County, Faulkner County, here in Little Rock. There's multiples all over the world during this season. So, Jason, one thing I can remember about you is that you are always faithful to bring people to Fields of Faith.
Yeah.
A bus or two load, or a bus or two load inside of one bus if needed to be, or
BJ, put your earmuffs on.
You can say that now. I mean,
you can tattle on yourself now as much as you want, but you did whatever it took to get people in the field, and we've seen the thing grow.
Yeah.
And the opportunities for people to come together, students to worship. You've had your daughter shared her testimony in front of thousands of people that she didn't think that she could do. It was a step of faith to get there. So if you're wondering what Fields of Faith is, it's just a public worship service for the church on a football field or in a basketball stadium arena if it's raining outside. For the church to be the church, for student testimonies, coach testimonies, someone to present the gospel, and the opportunity for everybody to respond. And then we collect all that information and we get it in the hands of local youth pastors so that the local youth pastors can do the follow-up process to get them plugged in to fulfill our mission of leading every coach and athlete to grow in relationship with Jesus Christ and his church. If what happens at an event or happens on campus stops on campus or at the event, we failed. We want to get them plugged into a Bible-believing church that believes the gospel of Jesus Christ and someone who can continue to partner with us as we complement each other in the ministry of the local congregation, and we supplement them with opportunities and resources to continue the lifelong process of becoming a disciple of Jesus. So tell us a little bit about the impact of Fields of Faith, what it's had on what the impact of Fields of Faith can have on the culture of a school.
Right. So when the first Fields of Faith we went to, I just took my softball team. So there we had a little over a dozen kids.
Yeah. 2021.
So then year 2, it grew to about 30. Year 3, that number doubled to 60. And then year 4 was the year that you were talking about the bus thing. Have you ever been to the circus where you see a little bitty car and then 73 clowns get out? That's about what our bus looked like. Kids kept filing on the bus, and I kept taking names. And then I look in the bus when I get on. And I thought, oh my God.
Yeah.
But okay.
Here we are.
God, just protect this bus on the way there. And then last year we had 2 full bus loads there. And you can tell the difference on campus when kids come back from Fields of Faith. We had this idea of, we don't want to be sponges when God's speaking to us. We want to be mirrors and reflect everything that happens to us. And so watching just our huddle on campus grow from just being softball to now, we're trying to find classrooms at lunch big enough to have all of our kids because there's not an auditorium there. And so you just try to pack them in as many as you can. And so the culture on campus definitely changed simply because the kids that are leaders in the school got involved in FCA, and they got involved in FCA because of Fields of Faith.
Yeah, it's incredible. I remember that 2021 and starting on the field and then bringing more and more and more. And I remember the one year that we had to cancel on the field and move it to the arena. 22 is the second year we did it in Cabot. And we had to make the decision less than 12 hours. And youth pastors questioned me because there's like a 30% chance of rain. They're like, it's 30%.
Poured.
Well, getting to that, I was like, but there's electrical equipment, there's projectors, there's sound equipment, there's all kinds of stuff. I can't chance it for 30% during that. Traffic flow and everything else. And then, so we moved into the gym. The school worked with us in order to have it within the gymnasium, put down the floor mats, open up the cafeteria so we could feed people in. And then while we're in there working, all of a sudden, all these people start coming in wet, and all the youth pastors that give me smack. If you're listening to this, you know who you are. I was like,
that's crazy.
What do you mean? Is it raining? Oh, I thought it wasn't going to rain. I'm so glad to know that I know what I'm talking about, that I have peace about moving forward and where God is leading, where God is directing. And we just did it. And we moved into the gym. I remember that day. You brought a couple of other coaches with you.
I did.
Can you tell a little bit about that story and how what all happened during that? Do you remember that night?
With the other coaches coming? Yeah. They saw the other coach's kids were getting on the bus, and they said, "Hey, can I be a part of this? Can I go?" And I wasn't like you. It's like, no, you can't go. Yeah. And I was like, absolutely. This is for everyone. And when we got moved inside, I was trying to get kids in, and he had kind of already gone in, and he was sitting like in the bleacher in front of me. And I vividly remember, God working on his heart during Fields of Faith. I guess it turned into Courts of Faith, but watching God working on his heart. And to the point to where he had got up and walked into the like near the concession stands out in the front lobby to kind of regain his composure because he was so emotional.
Wow. Yeah.
It's cool to see what happens when we can be the enablers to just get people in the room. That's what you said earlier about FCA camp. Just get your kid to FCA camp.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, just get your kid to church on a Sunday morning. And it's exactly what we were talking about at the beginning. It's just give your best for your athletes. Leave the results up to the Lord.
Right.
Like, if you don't believe that God's in the details, you might want to just look a little bit closer at the Bible that you're supposed to be reading, because there's so many things that tell us very clearly that God's character is consistent and that God's character, he cares about the details. He cares about the big things. He cares about the small things. I was just reading Moses, instead of speaking to the rock, he struck the rock and he didn't get to go into the promised land.
Right.
You think, like, that's just one example, but like, God is in the details.
So you mean Moses was penalized because he actually hit a rock?
Yeah. Struck it twice, actually.
Yeah, just slide at that thing.
What a little goober.
Should have listened.
I also was going to say earlier that in sports terms, the Dallas Mavericks got the first pick in the draft for way less than 30%. So you never know if the rain is coming. Yeah, if the rain is coming. I'm just saying, Cooper Flag is coming. So
That's right, Rain Man.
So just had to throw that in there. All that to say, it's important that we are enablers to be able to get the kids in the room, to be able to just give the opportunity. I had a teacher, and one of the most impactful coaches in my life. I might screw this up, but he said, I want to be an equal opportunity offender. So essentially, he just wants everyone to have the same opportunity to be offended, essentially. Of he wants everyone to have a fair chance and a clean slate to be able to be on the same playing field. I know for me, that was a part of my athletic journey growing up. Was I just experienced some things where I just wasn't treated the same as other people on the team. And it was so frustrating to feel like I could give more, or I had more in the tank, or I had more potential in it. even my teammates to see that they had more to give, but they just weren't given the opportunity to shine on the same level. So I think it's important what you're saying of that's just your heart. Yeah. And I can see it. I had actually not even met you before this podcast, but I can see in
just heard of Jason Gold.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that name so many times. It's like
Jason Gold.
It's been whispered from the heavens. Yeah. But I can see it in the emotion that you express and in the ways that that your character has shown through different moments that that's just an encouragement to me to hear. I appreciate seeing, even as you're talking, just the emotion that you express, because I can tell it means so much to you.
So Jason, I want you to speak to coaches. Carlisle is not close to Cabot. Well, it is, but by school bus, it takes a lot of effort to get there. But once you get in the environment, get in the stadium, you students see other students who worship in Jesus all at the same time, multiple schools, multiple teams, all showing up to celebrate as one team, to serve underneath one coach, Jesus. And then that enables them, it engages them, it equips them, and it empowers them to go back to be Jesus on their campus. What would you say to a coach who's looking for every reason in the world not to go to Fields of Faith?
Well, that's easy. If you're looking for a reason not to do something, you're going to find it. If you're looking for a reason to do something, you're also going to find it. And it's not easy to, get 120 kids somewhere by yourself on a bus and then manage getting them all back on the bus when it's over and getting them back. And I understand there's a lot of anxiety that goes along with it. And it's definitely not easy, but it's worth it. It is worth that 4 hours of your life that could change the rest of a kid's life.
And you've seen kids come back and it changed the culture of their team dynamic and their classroom dynamic and then the campus and everything.
Well, like in one of our huddles, we had a kid that brought a kernel of corn into school. Because if you know anything about Carlisle, it's in the middle of the prairie. We're surrounded by row crops, and corn is one of them. Well, if you plant one kernel, that one kernel is going to turn into a stalk, and there's going to be 6 to 8 years of corn on that stalk. And each one of them has 200 kernels. And so that one seed has the potential of creating 1,000 seeds. And so we kind of looked at that as this is the way you plant the word of God is just start with one.
Right.
Let one turn into two, let two turn into four. And that's kind of how we grew our huddle.
Yeah.
I think
it all started with Shane Wright washing clothes.
It did. He was probably barefoot too.
Probably so. Shane, if you're listening to this, I'm going to make sure when this comes out, that you get the link. But just appreciate the faithfulness of others leading to where we are today.
Yeah.
It's important that when we feel stuck, we know that there's still more to come. And I think that's where I appreciate Josh a ton as a leader, because you're always looking at ways to improve. You're always looking at different avenues that we can explore to expand ministry in Central Arkansas. We would have been stuck a long time ago if we would have just settled for one thing. But the ministry is ever growing. It's expansive. Even as you're saying, if you just stopped after one breakthrough, there's more out there.
Absolutely.
It's like that cinematic part of Hacksaw Ridge when Andrew Garfield
just one more,
Lord.
Great movie.
Pretty good.
That's what that's what the real guy sounded like at the end of the movie when he's saying it. But if we stop with, I think my personal perspective is when we're not curious, when we lose our curiosity for how we can expand and how we can grow, that's when we get stuck. I've never seen someone who's a good question asker that gets stuck for too long. They continue to grow because they continue to be curious and want to know more. Yeah. And there's not a single person on this earth that knows everything. So everyone under the blue skies, and even the people that get sent out into space, they should be curious enough to continue to learn and continue to grow. It's really important, and I wish more of our students had that same desire in our heart, and I think it's important to teach them as we go. So, yeah, we're closing in here on the end. Wanted to ask maybe a more fun, lighthearted question here to end. What do you think is a harder sport, baseball or softball?
Oh, softball, no doubt.
Why is that?
Well, because you have kids, girls, they throw 65 miles per hour, which is equivalent to 90 something in baseball. And by the time it comes out of their hand, they're from me to the wall from it. And they've got, a split second to determine one of the 8 pitches it possibly could be. If you look at the sport itself, the field is so small and condensed. It's like playing baseball, but at a phone booth. And everything happens so fast. And when you speed the game up, there's so much room for a mistake to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I always got scared. My sister played softball growing up, and seeing her wear the face mask, I was like, are we safe out here? Like watching them play? I don't know about this. I mean, Josh, you got perspective on that?
Dude, I've played slow pitch and co-ed and men's league, and I'll pitch and I'll hide behind the net because I ain't taking that. My first game, I took a line drive to the face. I dropped to my knees, threw my glove up. I felt the hit. I was like, "Yes, Lord."
Well, I can say this: I played college baseball. There's zero chance I could hit a softball.
I guarantee.
A college pitcher softball. I couldn't hit them. I can't even see it.
Guarantee.
It happened so fast.
Man,
That's awesome.
Man,
that's great.
Baseball players out there just shaking their heads right now.
All right, one more fun question. Top 3 sports movies of all time.
Remember the Titans.
Okay.
The Sandlot. Yes. 3's going to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Facing the Giants. There you go.
Okay. All 3 goat movies.
Facing the Giants.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we've talked about Facing the Giants on here.
That's the first time it's ever come up. That's good.
Stonewall.
All positive movies.
I'm standing for my son. That's so good.
That's great.
There's some good parts in that movie.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us today on the podcast. Beyond the Huddle, Central Arkansas, FCA, where faith meets competition. And thankful for Josh to be here and Jason to be here, learn more of their stories and how they're plugged in. Like we said, if you want to get involved, go to centralarkfca.org, tab at the top, get involved, or you can go to caefca.org, stands for Central Arkansas East. And at the top, click get involved. There's a place where you can put your school that you want to get involved in and what level, and we'll reach out and contact you and see how we can navigate that discussion, conversation, and get you plugged in on local school campuses. So thanks so much for joining us. Y'all have a great week of worship. See you later.